After an uproar for labeling the US radio network NPR as state-affiliated media and government-funded, Elon Musk's Twitter backtracked and had applied that new label to the British Broadcasting Corporation or BBC, which is mostly funded by the British through a license fee. BBC immediately registered a protest against the labeling by Twitter. The labeling, which insinuates that the state exercises influence over the editorial policies of a network, were challenged by the BBC, which in a statement said that BBC is and always has been independent. We are funded by the British public through the license fee. Musk, in his response to the controversy, did say that the BBC is one of the least biased source of news, which he often refers to himself. However, a few hours later, the Twitter CEO mocked the BBC in a tweet that read, "Wonder what BBC stands for." The label that was attributed to Washington-based National Public Radio and BBC was done on Saturday. Last week, Twitter branded NPR in the same way as it labels government-owned Chinese and Russian platforms. Miffed, NPR stopped tweeting in protest. In its updated Twitter bio, NPR's main account, which has more than 8.8 million followers, invited users to find us every other place where you read the news. NPR CEO John Lansing called Twitter's actions unacceptable. NPR's Twitter account, which posts news headlines and article links on a regular basis, has remained inactive since then. Other accounts run by NPR, such as its music and politics handles, did not have the state-affiliated specification and continued to tweet. Earlier, Twitter had stripped the New York Times of its verified status on the platform, which, like NPR, is accused of left-leaning bias by the right-wing conservatives in the US. As per Twitter's policy, the labeling will lead to de-amplifying of tweets both from the BBC and NPR. The move will also hamper their credibility as an independent, unbiased source of news. Musk is known for expressing disdain for mainstream news media for years. His disdain for the mainstream media is so strong that the Twitter CEO installed an automatic response of a poop emoji sent in response to emails sent by the press to Twitter's press email. Later, in response to the objections raised by NPR and BBC, Musk tweeted that we need to add more granularity to editorial influence, as it varies greatly. I don't actually think the BBC is as biased as some other government-funded media, but it is silly of the BBC to claim zero influence. Minor government influence in their case would be accurate. Musk, in his email response to NPR, said that the labeling may not have been accurate and that Twitter would look further into the matter. The operating principle at Twitter is simply fair and equal treatment. So if we label non-US accounts as government, then we should do the same for the US. But it sounds like that might not have been accurate here. The Twitter chief wrote to NPR. NPR's website states that the bulk of its budget comes from fees paid by member stations throughout the United States, supported by individual donors and government funds. BBC's funding also comes from a license fee that is paid by the British citizens.